evening, race fans. Welcome to TDR Veterans Only. We're here at USA tonight. I am Andy Shaner, and unfortunately, I don't have my sidekick tonight, so I'm going to have to take this pre-race show by myself and see how I do with that. Um, I may not like him on the track, but I like him in the booth, so I do miss Tommy tonight. I wish he was here, but hey, Tommy, do what you got to do, buddy, and I'll get through this myself. Let's take care of a couple things real quick. Let's talk about a couple of our sponsors riding along with us tonight. Of course, Pujanowski, great job streaming, all positivity all the time. You get a chance to check out Pudge. That is Pujanowski. Don't ask me how to spell it. That's Tommy's job, and he's not here. Let's talk about B&B Wraps. B&B Wraps has done an awesome job for TDR. Created a couple awards for us now for league champions. Has graciously donated those. One for Tyler's birthday race that went out to the winner of that, and then also for Justin Jarrett last season for the league champion in the Vets race. Back Charities, of course, the new charity supporting TDR. Uh, all about positivity through gaming, helping people with physical and mental disabilities through creating safe and pleasant gaming experiences. It's Thursday. Go check out Justin the Person. Of course, it's Justin the Person. This week, a little odd. It is called It's Thursday, but he was on Monday. He kind of confused me there. But then again, I got my It's Thursday shirt, and I tend to wear it on Saturday. We got McConey setup shops. I got to tell you, we've seen this post this week about how setup shops are a scam or whatever, and somebody was threatening to sue this guy or whatever. It was not anybody associated with McConey setup shops. McConey does a wonderful job, not only with the setups they provide, but the customer service after the fact as well. If you ever buy a setup from them and you have an issue, you can't drive it, maybe it's not drivable for you. Um, they will get online with you. They will work with you. They'll get in a session. They'll get it set to your driving style so that you can run fast. So make sure if you're going to support these setup shops, and I think you should, absolutely check out McConey. Let's quick talk about what we got going on this week as we take a look at the points coming into this race at USA. We have 3 races remaining with Kevin in the lead with a firm lead on Jeremy. James is kind of nipping at Jeremy a little bit, and Corey sits there in 4th. He's not that far out of that 3rd place spot by only 2 points. You also see Kurt in there, which we see Kurt, he tends to have some issues during some races, but he's in the points hunt. He's currently tied for 4th, 2 points out of a podium in the league. It's just a phenomenal job he's done. Justin Jarrett, our last season winner, sits there in now the 6th position with 236 points. When you look at things, he's probably out of the running for the championship. And that was due to missing a race this year. But you never know what could happen. There could be some guy misses one of the next 3 races, or just has an absolutely horrible day, finishes dead last, he wins the race, and he can close that gap. So it's not over for him yet either. So these points are important tonight with only 3 races left. We're looking at James Krause right now. He is our leader and sitting on the pole currently under qualifying. But the times have been fast. The times have been fast through practice. They have been close. There's not a whole lot of spread between the first place guy and like the 8th place guy. So we're going to see a fun race tonight. It's going to be a lot of tight racing. Hopefully we got some clean racing, and we'll see how it goes. At this point, I'm a little over talking to myself. Unfortunately, again, I don't have Tommy here. I'd be making fun of him for being upside down if he was. But I'm going to go ahead and bring in our announce team for tonight. First, as always, Adam Ricky joins us tonight, and a new announcer for y'all, Aaron Johnson. Welcome, gentlemen.
Thanks, Andy. I appreciate the introduction and the opportunity to call a race with you guys tonight. Um, Something that is a near and dear to my heart. I've been at the racetrack my whole life, so I really appreciate the opportunity.
Well, we appreciate you coming in here, helping us out. Sean's on a golf trip tonight, and I know Aaron's been doing a hell of a job with the with calling some Legends replays that we've been running, and they've been awesome, and everybody seems to enjoy them. So we're glad to have you live in the booth tonight, and of course we welcome Adam. Adam, how you doing tonight?
Well, it's another fun, exciting Saturday night. 3 races left in the season, and we're gonna see how this all shakes out. Who's gonna end up with the championship? Who's gonna win tonight's race? And who's gonna run up front?
So when you look at these qualified guys, what do you think? What are you seeing here? As we saw, James is, I believe, in if we take back and look at the points here, he's sitting out there on the pole. He's in third position in the points. You've got your number 2 guy sitting on the outside pole. So what should we expect going into this? And it's a long race. I think they're running 70 laps tonight.
Yeah, so it definitely is a long race, and we're not really getting enough cars have really big point swings. What we're going to need to have happen is whoever the points leader is going to have a bad race, not make one of the events, and then that's really what's going to affect the championship outcome. Having a 17-point lead currently, that's pretty comfortable over the next 3 races, because we're only getting 11 or 12 cars. As long as you're not finishing last and they're not winning, it's going to take a little bit to eat into that lead.
Yeah, and I'm not seeing a whole lot of new guys tonight either to the league. We've got Andrew Bisnet. He's returning tonight after having a week off. Lonnie Mixon's back. He was off last week. These are guys that can run up front. We've seen them do it before, and maybe we'll see them do it again.
Yeah, the one thing about USA Speedway is when you get on the iRacing service, they give you the street stock and they basically put you on USA Speedway as one of the main tracks. So this should be a track everyone is familiar with. They should be fairly competitive around it. We're seeing in qualifying that within the top 10, everybody's within half a second of each other. Most everyone's within 2 to 3 tenths. That's very close. It's a long race. If it stays green, tires are going to play a factor in the outcome of this race.
Yeah, I think you're right. With the longer race, I think tires are going to be an issue. Pit strategy, depending on when you want to come for tires, if you go long green, I really don't know, because they shouldn't have to refuel, and that's always the question: is do you come for tires without a yellow flag? But we're here under a minute till the guys start to grid up. I'm going to turn it over to you for the race call, Aaron, and you guys enjoy this race tonight.
Thanks, Andy. I appreciate that. Welcome to USA International Speedway. We're going to have a great feature race tonight in the Vets League. I've been watching intently as James Krause has held on to the pole position here. He was the fastest car in practice and qualifying, which bodes well for at least some speed early. I saw Mr. Gaiman, if I get the names wrong, Andy, just correct me, and Justin Jarrett, all right there within 2 tenths. So it ought to be a really interesting race. One of the things that I've always appreciated about USA International is that the tires really do come into play, especially in these longer races. So it's going to be a lot of fun to watch our vets as they make their way around USA International.
Yeah, and on the topic of the tires, it's always something to be discussed. And they have shown us in this league in particular how often they're willing to pit for tires. And it's really blown my mind, because if I'm up front, I'm not giving up the track position. But the field is just small enough where they've been able to get away with doing the pitting for tires and be able to get back up front and still compete for those wins.
Yeah, and in the 70-lap race, if you're thinking about maybe a half-second differential, you might be able to get in and make up enough distance to do a little damage. with pitting, maybe short pitting for tires. So it's going to be really interesting to kind of watch that unfold.
Yeah, and one of the things that I'm starting to see now that we're getting through qualifying, I do not see Kevin in the field.
I don't either.
Andy, what do you got on that one for us? Is Kevin Guerre in the field with us tonight?
He is
Points
not.
leader.
He is not in here tonight. And I was almost thinking for a second that our pole sitter wasn't going to grid, but he did show up last second here.
Well, the pace car is underway and leads the field down out of turn number 2 and into the back straightaway. It'll be James Krause on the pole. Game to his outside. That's the 09 car. Justin Jarrett behind them. In the, I can't see that number from here. Looks like, is it 85? And then on the outside in the 89 is going to be, is that Hamden? Harrington.
Yeah,
I don't have it. I was trying to jot names down as we got started to get them all down. So it's going to be Harrington outside. Pace car leads him down the front straightaway. Should be getting the 1 to go sign this time. Drivers here lined up 2 by 2 and excited to get this race underway.
This is one of those tracks, if Jeremy Gaming can get a good start here, if he can maintain on the outside of James Krause, he'll actually have the preferred line coming out of turn 2. So even though everyone's going to want to get to the bottom, if you're at the right spot on the outside of a car, you can actually stay competitive up there for a lap or two, and then likely they'll start falling back. But if he can get a good start, he can get a chance to get out in the lead.
Looks like the field is coming through 3 and 4. The pace car should be headed in at any time. We're ready to get underway at USA International. Looks like the green flag's out, and down the front straightaway, James Krause and Jeremy Gaiman going to lead the field into turn number 1. Krause gets a great start out of turn number 2 onto the back straightaway. It is James Krause pulling away from the field, followed closely by Justin Jarrett.
Yeah, Jarrett did a great job on that restart to stay right on the tail of James Krause. And looks like he's digging underneath and wants to go to lead right out of the gate.
Yeah, Jarrett gets to the inside and looks like he's going to make a move as they go into turn 1. It's Jarrett on the inside, Krause on the outside. They come out of turn number 2 onto the back straightaway. Lots of action early. Drivers racing hard at USA.
Oh, it looks like we got our first caution of the night. Everyone's slowing down. Andy, if you can help us on the camera, see what happened. Does look like Joseph Routh there is way behind the field. I wonder if he's the reason for the caution or part of the caution.
Looks like somebody got into the inside wall. That's kind of what I'm seeing. Is a green and blue car was down hard into the inside wall.
Yeah, it looks like that would be
Spratley. Yeah.
Spratley.
Yeah, that's Gary Spratley. Couldn't really see from that camera angle if he had any contact or, just got loose. It did look like it was a little bit up out of the corner where it would make me think that there would have to be contact to spin at that point. Like, you can get loose coming out of these corners with a transition from in the banking of the corner to up off. Oh, nope. Actually, he did just spun out on his own. Just barely see it with that angle.
Yeah, early in a run, I find a lot of times cars, street stocks here especially, can get out from under you coming off the turn. It's fairly easy to do, and thank goodness for iRacing. You press a button and that car's fixed.
Yeah, it looks like he just got really wide coming out of the four-turn, and then to stay off the wall, you had a little bit too much wheel into it, and with the car getting loose, that's what caused him to spin out.
We are under caution, lap 4 of 65 scheduled at USA International. Leader is James Krause, followed by Justin Jarrett, then Corey Harridges and Eric Ross rounding out the top 4 with Jeremy Gaiman in 5th. We're 6 laps in, of a 65-lap event.
Yeah, really unfortunate for Jeremy starting outside pole, already finds himself back into the 5th position. And that's what's going to make this race really competitive, is because it's one of the first types of cars you get on when you're on iRacing. It's one of the first tracks that you race. I bet a lot of these drivers have a lot of laps on this track, And if you make a mistake, there's going to be more than a handful that are going to be able to capitalize on it. I think that's what we saw with Jeremy very early on.
Absolutely, I agree. And one of the other great things about TDR is it's a lot of really hard-nosed racing, but really clean racing too. So if somebody makes a mistake, there'll be a lot of people that want to take advantage of it.
Yeah, and we saw that. Justin Jarrett was right on the back bumper. James Krause. I know James has been running in more and more leagues. I know Justin Jarrett showing up in more and more leagues. And the more that they're running in and amongst these other series and these other different types of cars, they're building their racecraft and they're only getting better.
Yeah, there's no substitute for windshield time. It's one of the things we've always said at the racetracks when we were running street stocks and modifieds on the pavement back in the 90s, and it's true of iRacing too. Nothing beats laps.
No, you can't beat experience. That's for sure.
Pace car leads the field through 3 and 4. We have the 1 lap to green sign. Pace car is in. Krause leads the field out of turn 4 onto the front straightaway. Green flag is out. It is James Krause, followed by Justin Jarrett and Corey Harridges down the front straightaway.
It looks like Corey's making a early look to the inside of Justin Jarrett, not able to make anything happen there. A little bit harder on these single file restarts to get a good jump. And
looks like we've got a spin. Yeah. Caution is on the speedway again. That spin, the blue and sort of green car might have been, still couldn't catch a number on that.
Yeah, that was a little hard with the camera angle there to really see what was going on. But hopefully here on the replay, we'll be able to get a good look at it. Oh, that looks like there was a little bit of help on that one for sure.
Yeah, looks like there was a little bit of help there.
Yeah, I can't see who the two drivers are myself. But looks like there was definitely contact coming out of turn 2, and whoever that was got helped along.
It was the 13. That was the 13 car that ended up going around.
Yeah, and the 58, that's Lonnie Mixon.
A little bit of contact there. I did see that on that restart, it looked like Joseph Ralph dropped back a position or two. Somebody made a little pass on him early there. Joseph, kind of a regular also in the TDR League of Legends that runs on Saturday mornings.
Yeah, it looks like Gary Spratley is getting his, I want to say he's only down 1 lap at this point. It looks like he's going to be back up on the lead lap and back in this race.
Lucky dog.
And it's important for everyone who's watching to remember, in this league, everyone gets 2 quick repairs, which allows them to have incidents on the track. They can come in and get a brand new car, and they get 2 opportunities to get that corrected and get out there and stay competitive.
So, Adam, on that thought there, I was talking to I don't know what you would call, what's the leader in the military, the general, I suppose, of this league, which is Kurt. And we changed that to 1 quick repair tonight. That is going to change some things and change the way some of these drivers are going to drive.
Yeah, that'll be a big difference. And, one of the things when you have a quick repair, it allows you to be a little bit more risky because if something happens, you get to go in the pits and get a new car. Whereas if you don't have quick repairs, you have to be really mindful everywhere that you put your car and the consequences of your actions of how you race around those with you. So I'm super excited to hear that. I think it will change the outcome of this race a little bit and make everyone race a little bit differently.
We are on lap 11 of 65 scheduled at USA International under caution. Second caution of the night. This one brought out by an incident that involved the 13 of drawing a blank now. Sorry about that, fellas. Still getting used to these numbers and drivers.
Jason Jacobs.
Mixon and Jacobs.
Yeah, and I don't think there's anything between those 2 drivers. So it's not anything that we'd have like a storyline to talk about there. It's on a restart. Everyone's in a line. You get an opportunity. Somebody might just be up that little bit of half a groove on the track, and you want to stick the nose in there. You want to try to get that run up out of turn 2. I don't think there's anything intentional, or anything else to really discuss on that one.
Yeah, it didn't look that way at all. It looked like, as Darrell Waltrip would say, it looked like one of them racing deals.
Yeah, absolutely. That was definitely a race a deal. Everyone's really tight together on a restart. Things happen.
Pace car leads the field
So
out of
Tyler,
turn 4 onto the front straightaway.
I'm starting to break in there,
James
guys.
Krause has led 12 laps of 12 so far at USA International. It's Krause, Jarrett, and Harridge is running 1, 2, 3.
Looks like we're
We've
finally
been,
getting lights off on the pace car.
yeah, 1 lap to green, so we'll be ready to go next time around. As the pace car leads the field onto the back straightaway, the start will be on James Krause. He's going to get to decide the pace of this restart.
Yeah, and all restarts, it comes down to the leader to set at what rate they want to come into the green flag. And there's a lot of options. Do you wait till the green flag comes out? Do you go early? When do you start picking up speed? There's a lot of varying approaches to this. We'll see what James does on this restart.
Pace car is in. Field comes out of turn number 4. Green flag's out. James Krause gets a great restart. Justin Jarrett in second. Harridge is in third.
Yeah, no, another good restart by James. Really taking off before getting out of the corner. Really got him that gap that he needed on Justin Jarrett. Justin Jarrett's been all over his back bumper on the initial start and the previous restart before this.
It was an excellent restart by James Krause, and he was able to do it in a way that was really stable, put him in a good position to get into turn 1 and get through 1 and 2 well. Continues to lead at this point in time. It's Krause, Jarrett, Harridge is running 1, 2, 3.
Yeah, we got a little bit of battle here. Everybody else is kind of strung out. We got 3 cars here battling for position. I want to say it looks like it's going to be the 6th position, and looks like they're starting to get single file at this point.
And that was the 29 of Andrew Bisnet that's racing hard to the inside of Joseph Ralph, just ahead of them. Looks like the 10 of Michael Smith. No, it looks like the 9. That's the 9 car of Jeremy Gaiman that's just in front of them.
Yeah, that's 5th, 6th, 7th, and 8th right there. And what we're going to see here is as they're going around the corner, you can see very distinctive lines. Joseph Ralph's coming up a little bit more in the center. He's a little bit wider coming out. Lonnie Nixon is really hugging the inside line right through the center of the corner. And that's what's going to keep allowing him to get his nose underneath people. And hopefully after the last incident, he can keep his nose clean throughout the rest of the race.
Yeah, as they're watching just ahead of them, the 6 car of Eric Ross is running a little bit higher line, almost as if what he's trying to do is preserve some tires for a little bit later in the run.
Yeah, and they have the opportunity now to really get going. They're spread out. I can't imagine we're going to have too many more cautions. I mean, they got it out of their system, hopefully, in those early laps.
That's the 58 of Mixon looking underneath Joseph Ralph. Ralph kind of closes the door on him as they come out of turn 4 onto the front straightaway. Mixon looking underneath again. Looks like maybe he's got a fender. No, Ralph pulls away down the front straightaway into turn 1. It's still Joseph Ralph and Mixon racing hard for 7th, 8th, 9th position, somewhere in there.
Yeah, it's almost a matter of time before Nixon's able to get him. You see where Joseph Ralph is washing up in the center of the corner. Nixon is really good and tight to the bottom of the racetrack in the center, and it's only a matter of time before he gets the run he needs or Joseph Ralph overdrives getting into the center.
Yeah. Ralph now down low on the inside, mixing up to the outside, changing up the positions a little bit. This race for 7th place at USA International Speedway. We are on lap 20 of 65.
Yeah, and here we are. We got a little in-car camera action. I don't know actually who we are. We can't actually tell from this view, but it gives everybody who's watching an idea what it's actually like going around in the iRacing simulation and what the drivers are seeing. Great shot. It looks like we were Joseph Ralph on that in-car.
Yeah, I think that's probably right. Ralph is a little bit further back from that 6th place car, so that I think that analysis is right. USA is a great track to ride along in as well. You get a good feel for banking. You get a good feel for watching the driver's hands. You can see how, if you have that cockpit view, what it takes to make one of these cars go around the racetrack.
Yeah, and up front, it looks like James Krause has slowly been building up on his lead. We're watching the battle back here. This is the closest battle we currently have, and we got a 3rd car that's about to join in on it.
Yeah, that's That looks like it's the 10 car. It looks like it's a Firebird. One of the other great things about what I'm seeing in iRacing is a lot of great car painters and car builders creating new skins to give some personality to the cars that we see on the iRacing service.
Yeah, and I want to say that's Michael Smith who is closing up in there.
Yeah,
In
you're
that
right.
10. Yeah, even the benefit of being here every week, right, Aaron?
Yeah.
I kind of know who the guys are, so it's all good there. It looks like we got some lap traffic now. Kurt is finding himself down a lap, and they're all negotiating by him.
Still some good racing. That's the Joseph Ralph had closed in for just a minute on Andrew Bisnet. And then just behind Ralph, we've got Mixon closing back in. So a lot of action here in the middle of the pack as several drivers are kind of fighting over those 5th, 6th, and 7th spots.
Yeah, no, really good action down through here. They're all just close enough if somebody makes a mistake to be able to get right up behind them, potentially capitalize on it. And then again, this is the closest racing we got on the track right now. And again, there's 5 cars within, an eighth of a track from each other. So as this goes on, we might see some comers and goers as the tires start to wear.
Yeah, it looks like Joseph Ralph has closed in again on the 29. Ralph really working hard to find a way around that 29 car. Just washes up just a little bit. That allows Mixon to close in. This is a 3-car battle for 7th position.
Yeah, there might have been a little contact there with his net, causing Joseph Ralph to have to get out of the throttle, and that's what brought Nixon back up to them. And again, this is really good battle. What you're seeing is Andrew Bisnet is really chopping off the entry into the corner. That is not going to work long term for him. He's chopping off coming out of the corner. He is going to start losing momentum as Joseph Ralph might start taking a look to the outside of him.
Hard to pass on the outside of USA International. It can be done, especially if you get the right line coming out of the turn. Joseph Ralph working on the high side of Andrew Bisnet.
Yeah, and Andrew's giving him the entire lane up there. And every time he chops off going in and chops off coming out to protect that inside line, he's slowing himself down. He'd be faster if he was using the whole racetrack.
That's an advantage for the 35 of Ralph. Behind them, Mixon. And then behind Mixon, that 10 car.
Yeah, that's Michael Smith. He's sticking his.
Michael Smith.
Yeah, no, he's getting in there. We're going to have a 4-car battle here before too long.
And it looks like Ralph's got a fender underneath this time. Finally, looks like he's got some position as they go into the turn down here. Ralph.
Whoa, a little contact
there?
Oh, yeah. Ralph had enough of Andrew at that point, trying to go around him with the line he was running. He knew once he was on the inside, he had to take that. He had to take the position at that point. Did a good job to not wreck him. In all reality.
At the same time, Smith in the 10s made his way around Mixon. So Joseph Ralph uses the chrome horn to move into 6th place.
Yeah, and this is short track racing. Sometimes you have to be able to do that. And as we see, Andrew Bisnet, he's now using the whole racetrack again, and he's all of a sudden pulling away from the 2 cars behind him. And he's running right with Joseph Ralph and getting ready to make a move on him himself.
Behind them, Mixon worked his way back under Michael Smith. I don't know if he was able to complete the pass. 2 cars were side by side as they came out of the turn. He did not. Looks like the 10 of Smith managed to hold him off on the outside line. Right along here with the 85 of Justin Jarrett. He's just ahead of the 6 of Eric Ross. Ross in that throwback Richard Petty, the King paint scheme that I remember so well from the late 70s and early 80s.
Yeah, here we are again. Now we're starting to see who are the comers and goers. When we had the restart, Justin Jarrett was in 2nd. Now he's back to 3rd. Corey's moved up into 2nd. Does he have enough to be able to run down James? It looks like James is still continually pulling away with his lead, and we'll see how this other battle materializes as the laps go on, because I believe we're at the halfway point this lap.
We are at the halfway point. James Krause leads by about 4 seconds. It'll be interesting to see if Krause will be able to have enough tires to hold off Corey Harridge's Justin Jarrett and Eric Ross as they work their way back toward the front. Some brake glow there on the 89 or 85 of Justin Jarrett.
Yeah, you definitely have to use brake here. There's not enough banking to really catch the car going down into the corner, so you got to use a little bit of brake to help get you in, get the nose settled. But you're not using a lot of brake, but it doesn't take too much. These are big, heavy cars. and going down into the corners, it's a lot of force on the front ends and on those brakes.
The 6 of Eric Ross working hard on that 85 car. Ross trying to find his way around. Ross, looks like the 85 had kind of disappeared from view for a moment, but there's Eric Ross working hard. And it looks like maybe Jarrett's cutting the corner off a little bit.
Yeah, and you're really starting to see it. They're getting defensive about their positions. Jarrett must be feeling like, oh, I might have burned up the right front tire. I'm going to protect the inside line. And again, Eric Ross is just looking to the outside and going to try to swing around. And it's going to be really, really hard with this many laps into the run without Jarrett making a mistake.
Right, and the 09 of Gaiman has now moved into the picture as well. Some battle here between Gaiman. Ross having to be aware that the 09's behind him, the 85's in front of him. He could end up giving up a position when he's trying to make a pass.
And this is where you get into those moments where you might see the bumper come into play. For two reasons. One, you got pressure behind you now, and you know you need to get going. Someone's holding you up. And the other part is you might be feeling like, geez, I need a set of tires. And the best way to get a set of tires is to get a caution.
Right. Ross, driving really hard, got 2 wheels underneath the yellow line. That can often be a prescription for disaster. He managed to hold on to that car well as he came out of the turn.
Yeah, you got a good bite up out of the corner. Was able to pull back away and get back in front of Jeremy Gaiman there, who is really putting some pressure on now.
Yeah, Gaiman in the 10 car working hard on that 6 of Eric Ross.
Yeah, and it looks like Eric is just overdriving the entry of the corner, just being way too wide to really put down a fast lap. And he's trying to really do a big arc, but this isn't really the type of track. It isn't tight enough to where that late apex is really going to gain you much.
3 cars, Jarrett, Ross, and Gaiman, 1, 2, 3, right on top of each other again as they race hard for position. This would be for 3rd, 4th, and 5th at USA International. 25 laps to go in a 65-lap event. Lots of action on the speedway.
Yeah, it's no longer a 3-car battle. It's a 4-car battle. Joseph Ralph has now caught himself up there as well. Gaiman's making the pass. We're going to see how this all shakes out.
It's going to get really interesting really quick as the 9 car gets underneath the 85. They touch. That's going to put the 85 into the inside now. Spins to the outside wall. Didn't collect anyone, but boy, that was some action on the racetrack.
Yeah, we got the caution now. And, that was Jeremy Gaiman that ended up spinning after making contact with Justin Jarrett. And he was doing everything he can to not have the contact. And sometimes once that contact happens, when you try to avoid it, you end up crashing yourself rather than the other individual. And that's a decision each driver has to make. Do you send the other person or do you wreck yourself in the process? Oh, it looked like he went upside down. Where's he?
Yeah, Gaiman on his roof. Joseph Ralph, very fortunate to have avoided that accident. Missed it by that much as Gaiman spun and then turned across the racetrack. Maybe a better look here. Looked like a little bump in the back there, too.
Yeah, when he had that first bit of contact, he got out of the gas, and Joseph Ralph was just right there and couldn't react to it quick enough. That's nothing on Joseph Ralph. That's just tight racing on a short track.
Yeah, nothing you can do in a situation like that. Looks like we're going to have the field in for tires and gas. 23 to go, 22 to go. This will make for an interesting dash to the end as everybody will have fresh tires, and fresh tires make you feel like Superman out there.
Oh, we're going to see it on the restart, and especially if you're Corey or Justin right now. James has checked out, right? You've got an opportunity now. You're going to be a 10th or 2 behind him on the restart. Whatever you're going to do, you have to do it within that first or second lap to try to get that position away from James. Otherwise, he's just going to start walking away.
Absolutely. James Krause, the one person that did not want to see the caution. Looks like Joseph Ralph playing some pit strategy. Ralph going to be out of the pits first. I'm interested to see how that strategy is going to play out.
Yeah, I don't know if he just went with a 2-tire stop. We don't really have any way of knowing what's going on when it comes to the pit strategies, but we'll see how it all shakes out. It also looks like it wasn't just him with a quicker pit stop. It might have been Justin Jarrett as well.
Yeah, the telemetry showing that it's still Krause, Harridges, and Jarrett, but it will update as the cars cross the start-finish line.
Yeah, it's showing Joseph Ralph now, and it looks like it is updating, so it's So it's going to be Joseph Ralph, James Krause, Corey Harris, and Justin Jarrett, the way it's currently showing.
The 29 of Bisnet will be fifth. That would be your top five. Ralph, Krause, Heritage, Jarrett, Bisnet. Behind them, the 10 of Michael Smith, that distinctive, about 77 Pontiac Firebird, the gold with the 10 on the side. And then Lonnie Mixon and Gary Spratley will be the top 8.
Yeah, this is going to be really interesting on the restart. We don't know what Joseph Ralph did for his pit stop. James Krause has been the dominant car. He's going to be starting on the outside, not in control of the restart. And that really puts Corey Harris in a really good spot if he can stay with Joseph Ralph and, get by James Krause on that first lap. He could be in a good position to start controlling the race.
Yeah, I think a lot of it's going to come down to, as you stated earlier, to how Ralph and James Krause are able to get out of the corner. Can Krause get enough of a lane out of the corner to make a run and hold that spot? Or is he going to have to find a way to get in behind Joseph Ralph and then root his way underneath?
So I don't know what they're planning on doing, but my strategy at this point would be, all right, the fastest guy is going to be starting on my outside. Let's just say we took 2 tires. I'm going to have some speed for a few laps, but it's going to be a little bit looser than normal by only taking the right side tires. I would be hanging so far back off that pace car, and as soon as I thought the pace car was in the pits, I'd be going. I'd probably even be going before the pace car got to the pits because I'd be hanging back so far because I need to get 3/4 to a second out in front of James Krause and let Corey Harris and him and James Krause get side by side and start battling so that I could drive away. That would be my goal.
The pace car is leading the field into 3. The pace car should be in. Pace car is in. Joseph Ralph leads them out of 4 onto the front straightaway. Looks like the green flag's out. Ralph gets a good start. He managed to pull up ahead of both Krause and Harriges. It's going to be Joseph Ralph with the lead. Now Harriges looks to the inside. Woo, 3 wide.
I don't know how this is going to end, but Corey's doing what he's got to do to win this race.
And he made a great move coming out of the corner to get underneath Joseph Ralph. It's going to be Harriges out front now. Krause has dropped back into what looks like about 5th spot as he was the unfortunate person out in that restart.
Yeah, Corey did a really good job of timing that. Forced the 3 wide. Could have really gone poorly for all 3 of them. But again, we're back in. Everyone's got tires. They're Superman. And we got a wreck rope. Yep. We do have a couple spinning.
Yeah, that's the 10 going around. I think he checked up, and it looked like the 13 of Jacobs got into the back of the 10 for the spin there. There was a little action ahead of them. I think that was just sort of a reaction.
Yeah, if we can get it back, see, it looked like Justin Jarrett was sideways. I don't know what started all of that, but Justin Jarrett was starting to put a little bit of pressure on Corey Harriges, and I don't know if there was contact there or what happened, but it started further up, and unfortunately, Michael Smith, was collected later on just in the reaction.
Yeah, it was just looks like he was checking up, and the 13 of Jacobs was behind him, just couldn't check out. No, Smith was a little sideways as well, so I don't know exactly what was going on there.
It looked like Andrew Bisnet got his nose in under Justin Jarrett, is what it really looked like. And you had James Krause actually up on the outside as well. So it's another, possibly 3 wide situation that just was not going to work out.
And out front, I noticed that the 35 of Joseph Ralph was making the high line work. So a lot of action here late in the race.
Yeah, if you can get up on the outside, you can stay at the front fender. You can really control the way the car goes through the center and comes out. To be really fast here, you have to bring it all the way up the wall. That's why we were talking about earlier when everyone was chopping off the corners. It's not the fast way around. You need to let the car carry all the way up to the wall. And if you can control on that front fender, it's going to be really hard for people to pass. This happened with me and you there, Aaron, a week ago in the League of Legends, right? We were both up front battling for the lead. As long as I could stay on that front fender, it was really hard to pass.
Yeah, I couldn't give the car its head, so I was losing momentum off the turn. And once the tires heated up, my only option was to fall back behind you.
Yeah, and that's part of the racecraft. That all these drivers are going to be learning, and some are just further along in their progress than others. And you start to figure out which tracks where you can start to put yourself in a position to manipulate what the other person's doing. But when you do that, you are really hoping that they treat you really well and they don't just drive into the side. You can only do that with people that are really good drivers and that you trust.
Yeah, and that's one of the great things about the TDR leagues is you got a lot of drivers that show each other. They race hard, but they still show each other a lot of respect out on the racetrack.
Yeah, and that's what it has to be. One of the things is every now and then little spats. Not everyone gets along, but at the end of the day, everybody's on this system with iRacing. Everyone's in TDR because we love racing, right? Like we like something about it, so we all have a commonality. So we should be able to become pretty friendly with each other. But it's just when things happen on the track, we kind of lose sight of it that we're in this hobby together, and we really like something that's all the same.
Absolutely, and if you're a racer, you want to win, and so when things don't go the right way or they don't go your way, it's going to be frustrating, and we're going to see that. But overall, we're seeing a lot of guys race really hard and give each other, I think, a lot of respect and a lot of room tonight.
Yeah, and we got the lights off on the pace car again, and I really hope Joseph Ralph does a better job on the restart. I know a lot of these guys are newer to racing, but when you're out there and you got older tires or whatever the situation is, you need to get away. You need to, you don't have to jackrap at the start where you like slow down, get everybody jumped up, bunched up, and then take off. But you can like take off long before the green flag comes out, and as the leader, they have that option.
Right, absolutely. Well, the pace car should be in this time around. We're coming through the center of 3 and 4, 1 to go. Pace car will be off the track, and we're going to see Joseph Ralph lead us out of 4 to the green. Ralph leads the field out. Green flag is out, and Joseph Ralph gets a pretty decent start, and we see James Krause to the inside. Looks like he's to the inside of Corey Harridge's. This is going to be an interesting set of laps as we've got really a 5-car pack running up front. Krause looks to the inside of Ralph, manages to get a fender underneath. Joseph Ralph on the high side leads them out of turn number 4. It's Ralph on the high side, Krause on the inside. They go past the start-finish line. At the line, it will still be Joseph Ralph with the lead as they come into turn number 1. Krause, however, getting a great run to the inside, and the 85 car also right there. That's Jarrett right behind them, and then the 89 on Jarrett's outside. Looks like Krause will be leading as they come into turn number 3.
Yeah, Joseph Ralph's doing a really good job hanging out there. James Krause just closed the door on him right there. And you'd like to be able to think that Joseph Ralph could have cut the inside, but he couldn't. Justin Jarrett was already there. Looks like we got a little contact going down in the corner. And yeah, Joseph Ralph's gone around on the nose of Corey Harridge's.
That's a bad break for Joseph Ralph. I didn't get to see all of the pieces of that. Oh, the 9 car turning around gets into the side of the 35.
Yeah, I mean, that's some unfortunate additional contact there. And this is the hard part, right? You're out there, you're on a different pit strategy, and, everybody else is starting to run. You're in the last 10 laps of the race. Everyone's just going to start taking now. You're not going to get the same courtesy to catch your car, or if there's a gap, they're just going to start filling those holes, and that's what we're starting to see.
Well, you can't win a race on the first lap, but you certainly can lose one. Here, you can definitely win one on the last lap, and last lap strategy coming into play. There are 7 to go. We're going to have a 3 or 4 lap dash by the end of this race.
Yeah, and we got James Krause back out front. He did a really good job on an earlier restart. He's been very patient. We've been seeing contact with Joseph Ralph and Justin Jarrett and Andrew Bisnett and Corey Harridge's. And, everyone here has been kind of bouncing off, running into the side of each other. Again, it's part of racing and, to be expected. But we haven't been seeing that with James. James has been keeping his car nice and clean. He hasn't ruffled any feathers. He needs a good, clean restart and drive off to this victory.
Absolutely. Andrew Bisnett has moved up into the 3rd spot. Lonnie Mixon into 4th now. Mixon had been as low as the 9th or 10th position. So Lonnie Mixon has done a nice job to work his way back into contention at the end of the race at USA.
Yeah, the restart on this one, the story here, I think has really come down to Justin Jarrett and Andrew Bisnett. We saw the earlier contact between those two on that last restart. We could just see it on the monitor that there was a shot from Justin Jarrett to Andrew Bisnett on corner entry. So be interested to see what happens if James Krause gets away, if they get side by side, what these two end up doing racing with each other.
It's going to be an interesting finish. 5 to go. The pace car light's still on, so we're at least 2 laps away from a restart. James Krause had a great car early, then fell back into the field after a restart and a caution in which Joseph Ralph had a pit strategy that put him out front. But James Krause back in the lead at USA International Speedway. There'll be 4 to go this time by. Pace car out, lights still on.
Yeah, we might get a natural green-white checkered with this one just because of when the caution fell. But I do believe throughout the night, they get a couple opportunities at green-white checkers. They might need them. The way they've been racing on the restarts, going 3 wide, and some of the things that we're seeing, I don't believe this is going to be the last restart, but who knows?
Yeah, one of the things that amazes me, and I've been sim racing for a while, but I see drivers do some things, and I just shake my head and think, how the world did they pull that off? This morning in the Legends race at Charlotte, they went 6 wide on the back straightaway. I've never seen anything like it.
Yeah, and I have no idea where they all thought they were going. That was like on like the second or third lap, right? Like it was very early on, and you have 22 cars on that little bull ring flat track where it is so easy to miss your braking points and just overdrive and take out the person next to you. It's a really hard track to really run side by side, and to see them doing that down the back stretch, that's crazy. I didn't see it from where I was racing, but when I saw that picture, I was like, what are they doing?
Yeah, it was amazing. The lights are off on the pace car. We're 1 to green. Pace cars on the back straightaway. It's Krause on the inside, Justin Jarrett on the outside. Behind them, Bisnet and Mixon, with Jacobs and Eric Ross running 5th and 6th. Harridge is in 7th, Michael Smith 8th, Gudenkauf 9th, and Joseph Ralph rounding out the top 10. Pace car leads them through the center of 3 and 4. Pace car now in. It'll be James Krause leading them to the flag. They come out of 4 onto the front straightaway. Green flag is out. James Krause gets a great restart, jumps out to a quick lead, and it'll be a battle for second behind him between Jarrett and Bisnet.
Spin looks like contact between.
Oh, you called it in. Oh, hard into the outside wall. Justin Jarrett pile drove the outside wall. He hit that a ton after contact with Bisnet.
Yeah, it's one of those things of when you have a problem with a driver, like you always end up finding yourself next to them on the racetrack. I don't care if it's sim racing or real life. Bisnet had a good run down there on the inside. Jarrett's trying to crowd, to get a good run up, but they made contact a little bit earlier. You can see a little bit of blocking going down lower. Jarrett's run up by the wall. That's just a recipe for disaster here late in the race.
Now, Lonnie Mixon didn't really have anywhere to go. He got into the back of Jarrett and helped him into the wall, maybe added a little momentum to the 85 car.
Yeah, it is. There's nothing you can do, right? Like, you're in the final laps. You're trying to get everything that you can do. The hole's there. You put your nose in there. And what we're just seeing is just there's no giving anymore. Everybody wants to try to get a good finish to finish off this race. And, we have some points. People that are in the points battle or that are in the top 5 or the top 6 that are, inflicting some wounds. And, James Krause, I said it earlier, he is just staying and keeping his nose clean and not getting anyone's feathers ruffled at him, which is a very smart thing to be doing right now.
Yeah, it's the second time that a caution has put James Krause, brought him back to the field. He had a great restart here, and earlier in the race had about a 4-second lead. So he's got to be asking himself, what do I have to do to win this race and get out of here?
Yeah, you just, when you're in that position, you're just hoping everyone else just figures it out. Let's get this over with. Let's get the victory. Let's get the checkered flag. Let's move on to next week. It's a really tough spot to be that leader where you got it in the bag and just, no one can really touch you. But when these things keep happening, it just takes a mistake on a restart or somebody, gets lucky and just gauges and guesses just right on it. Next, you got yourself in a battle. And who knows? We just saw what happened with Bisnet and Jarrett. It could happen to James Krause if somebody gets a jump and gets to the inside of him.
Absolutely. Krause has been a class of the field today. But with green-white checkered coming up, there's still a wild card in the mix.
Oh, yeah. I still don't think we're done. I'll be honest with you. It's one of those things of, if you're one of the drivers that have been impacted and now you're behind, you're Joseph Ralph, you're Justin Jarrett, you're running for points. You got to try to get every position that you can get, and you're getting 2 laps to do it. And now, if you've been running in the front and now you're in the back, you're now with other drivers and their cars that you haven't been racing around. So you don't necessarily know what they're going to do. So it's harder to predict and put your car in a good, safe space to be able to continue moving forward.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, it may sound like Adam Ricci is psychic, but Ricky is psychic, but what he's bringing is a tremendous amount of experience to the table. At a race a couple of weeks ago in the Legends Series, late in the race, he called that we were going to have 3 consecutive green-white checkers, and he was right on the money. So never doubt that this man has enough experience to really give you some insight into what's going to happen late in a race.
Hey, I appreciate that. I grew up at a racetrack, and if things probably turned out a little bit different, when I was younger, I probably would have totally stayed in the racing field. My brother builds race cars. He's been a crew chief on everything from local Saturday nights up to the cup car, not cup cars, but to Craftsman truck.
Lights are off on the pace car. Pace car leads the field into turn number 3. It'll be James Krause up front, followed by the 29 of Bisnet, then Mixon, Jacobs, and Harridges. Pace car is in, and it's going to be up to Krause to get us started. He leads the field out of turn number 4 onto the front straightaway. Krause on the throttle hard, gets a great restart again, pulls the 29 by a couple of car lengths, giving himself a little breathing room over the 29 of Bisnet, and then the 58 of Lonnie Mixon. Down the back straightaway, Krause leads, followed by Bisnet, Mixon, Jacobs, and Harridges into turn number 3. It's still James Krause. Krause out of turn number 3, now into 4 onto the front straightaway. He's going to take the white flag this time by James Krause, followed by the 29 of Bisnet and Mixon. Krause into turn number 1. Mixon tries to close. He's maybe closed that gap to a car length and a half. The 2 cars running away from the 58 of Mixon. It'll be a 2-car battle at the end, and I don't think that Bisnet's going to have anything for James Krause. Krause now through 3, into the center of 3 and 4, out of 4 onto the front straightaway. Ladies and gentlemen, it will be James Krause with the victory tonight, followed by Andrew Bisnet and Lonnie Mixon.
Yeah, I think we had a little bit of contact there down in 3 and 4. I don't think anyone crashed, but I think we did have a car sideways. It was kind of hard to see on the monitor. James Krause did a fantastic job here tonight. Again, he was the class of the field. He ran a good, clean race, and hats off to him. I think this will be his 4th victory on the season.
Growing up racing in Southwest Missouri, we were always taught that the smooth way is the fast way, and that's one thing you can say for James Krause tonight. That was a smooth race by the driver of the 8 car.
Oh, for sure. Everybody else has some problem at some point in time. And so I would say he's probably the only driver that didn't have some type of issue with another driver from what we were able to see.
There's your winner, ladies and gentlemen. That's James Krause in the 8. Very nice job tonight. That will make the points race interesting since our points leader didn't appear to make the field.
Yeah, and I don't know what really transpired there to make that happen. But what we have to start looking at is when we're looking at the point situation, there was 12 points from Jeremy Gaiman to James, and so it looks like Jeremy Gaiman finished 11th, and James Krause finished 1st. So that's a 10-point swing. So that 12-point lead that Gaiman had over Krause is now down to 2 points. And with Kevin not showing up tonight, we're going to probably see a new points leader with Jeremy Gaiman, with James Krause hot on his heels.
Yeah, and don't forget Corey Harridges. Harridges just a couple of points back, as was Kurt Gudenkauf. So it could be quite a battle here at the end. I'm guessing you could throw a hat over the top 4 drivers when this is all said and done.
Yeah, and we have drivers. I believe James Krause missed a race. We know Justin Jarrett did as well. And so, they had this opportunity, unfortunately, for Jarrett this evening. I'm going to say that he ended up finishing 12th. So, that he's going to fall further behind. But, those are the things you don't know when you're out there racing. Are you better to let that person have that line and finish 3rd, or do you risk it? And next thing you know, you're at a point where you're 12th and, you're losing